We just need one game to reach 1900 level, so let's see how we can play people at this rated range. Alright, perfect, my opponent is 1900, but let's see if he plays. Alright, perfect. By the way, if you're wondering what happened to my hand, it's just an allergic reaction to something at work. So, E4, how can we reply? We'll go for the French, could play something else. I don't remember what I played last time. I'm going for the French, just one, you know, a quick win. Let's see if we can get it. Opening is going to matter at this level, obviously, but you can still play something you don't know and win if you play good chess, that's for sure, but playing a good opening is going to help you. So this is an exchange variation, and instead of playing bishop on e3, my opponent goes for bishop on e2, which is completely fine. Just a bit passive, but absolutely no problem. We are perfectly equal, or maybe we're just slightly better because of this. Now, knight c3 is probably inaccurate, because in this position you want to use the c-pawn, and by playing knight c3 you're not going to do that, you're just blocking it. The point is that you can win this pawn since the knight is pinned, but we can just play c6, which was my idea anyway. I wanted to play c6 anyway, and we are perfectly fine. So the way to punish bishop on e2 is just playing bishop on f5. Bishop on f5, now if you play bishop on e3, we're going to take it. We wasted 2 times moving the bishop, and we can take it once again, and then queen take. We could even go back, but the best move is taking. The point is that I guess we don't want to damage our structure, and now the queen could be a target in the future. So now we want to unpin. I'm going to play knight on d7 first, and after that I want to play queen on c7, some pressure on the h2 pawn, and we are perfectly fine. So before doing this, I need to consider if this is going to be a good move. So an idea could be to play a5, just preventing this. And that only, now that I think about it, makes sense. So before going for your plan, you always have to be careful and see what your opponent wants to do. In this case, I think queen on b6 is perfectly fine. But then you have this. So I would say pawn on a5 is a really good move, just preventing this plan. And now we can definitely play queen c7, I don't see why not, or even queen b6 at this point, since we are preventing these. Queen on b6 makes sense. So queen on b6, you attack the queen, you can just go back maybe. So I guess I'm going to play queen on c7 first, and I figure maybe I want to play b5, maybe I want to play b4 myself, or I could just play rook e8. Alright, at this point I would say rook f on e8. Before doing that, I could even play this, which is not terrible, but then the knight might jump in, so I want to have the most control possible on this file, so I guess I'm going to play rook e8. And I still want this rook on this file, but I might put this rook on b8 maybe. We don't know. But having a rook on f8 in this position, I don't think is going to do a lot for us. Another idea we have is playing bishop on f4, just trading, but usually is not the best one. Like, we are just playing moves. This idea doesn't even make a ton of sense. So h6 has to be the next move if my opponent doesn't do anything in particular. And it goes back, which, I mean, might be a move, but after you play h3, I don't know, doesn't feel like a move, to be honest. So I could play this right now, but I can't play. Can't play that move. I could play this. Kind of makes sense, but I still want to go for h6, I would say. First of all, I'm just preventing this in case it wants to play it. But second, I'm actually threatening to play g5. After I play pawn on g5 and you go back, I'm going to win a pawn. So you have to be careful. You can't sacrifice. You can't absolutely sacrifice. It might do that if I manage to play g5, but it is absolutely wrong. Trust me, it doesn't make any sense. Right, you have some pressure on the king side, I just bring the bishop back. Bishop g7, GG. I'm up a piece. Alright, I don't know if this move makes a lot of sense. Because after I take, if you take with the queen, you just gave me the file. And if you take with the knight, you just gave me this really good square. Not to mention that this is still coming anyway. But yeah, now that you play this, is not really coming. So I might want to play this move instead. Or just the rook e8 first. Yeah. I'll go for rook e8, just taking the file. Alright, this move makes sense. I don't think I can take, because after that you take, and if I take, I just give you really good square for the knight. So what I want to do is play knight e4, threatening to win the bishop. You probably have to take, queen take. And I'm going to play knight on f6 probably. And I have a ton of control on the e4 square. I should be completely fine. Not only that, should be better at this point, even though not that much better. If I play knight on f6, he managed to get in with the knight. So instead of doing that, I guess I'll just play f5. f5, the point is that if you take, I just have a really strong pawn here. Or I could even take with the rook. Add some pressure on the d4 pawn. And I might want to play queen on f4, for example. Just pressure on the f2 pawn. As you can see, this position is pretty equal. I still a little bit better, but nothing crazy. So going back, I'm wondering if instead of taking the rook, I was supposed to just play g5 and just win the pawn. I don't know, man. After that, you double rooks. But yeah, probably that would have been the way to go. But let's say you double rook at that point. I have to take and the knight goes back defending. So I guess we probably get a pretty similar position. Now, what to do? c5 is not an idea, because we lose this. Now that you play this move, wondering if playing b5 is an idea. Looks good to me. b5, just you know. This pawn is not going to be under attack. I don't want to play this once again. I could play this, but maybe doesn't do a lot. You think about it, this does do something though. Let's say I play this and you go for this one. I'm going to play b5 first. You play this, I push. And the fact is that now you created a ton of weaknesses. Yeah, I really believe this move is bad. Instead of pushing, I could even take. If you think about it, if I take, the pawn is going to be in this position. What I want to do is pushing. And the advantage I'm going to get is that after I have a knight on c4, this pawn is going to be a target. The difference is that if I take, there is now going to be a pawn on e3, but by playing this, I'm going to create a target for me. So this has to be a move. But instead of going for this right now, because after that you're getting with the knight, I give you something, I guess I could go for this idea at this point. Why not? Looks logical to me. If you take, I don't think I'm going to have any sort of problem. And my idea now is to play g5 and g4. Yeah, so this move, I thought this wasn't even scary. Like, it's not scary at all, to be honest. Don't really get the point. What are you going to do? Play this? I don't know, man. So what you want to do maybe is just going back and say, well, what you do now? Which totally makes sense. In that case, I guess I could even move the king and to centralize it. But yeah, my opponent played this move, so I guess something is going to change indeed. So I'm going to play rook f8. Rook f8 has 2 points. First of all, I'm defending this. Second, after you move the knight, I don't have to be scared about the rook being hanging. Let's say I move this one. I don't have to be scared about this pressure. So this makes sense. It only has 3 points, because now this knight looks really strong for you. You might actually don't want to move it once again. You would like to keep the knight there. The problem is that I have this. Now you play this thinking, well, I'm perfectly fine. And I'm also attacking this. The queen is defending. The fact is that I don't think you're fine at all. First I'm going to take, you can take this, it's defended twice. If you take with the pawn, you have a huge weakness. And now you're giving me a ton of targets. So yeah, I don't like this move at all. So I'm going to play queen f6, is really logical. If you want to attack this, I can play g6. I could have played g6 actually. But I mean, this move makes sense. I might threaten this, I'm putting pressure on this one. I move the knight, want to play knight on c4, targeting this. Lot of ideas in this position. So I'm going to play g6, I would say. Yeah, let's go for it. If you push this pawn, you lose the knight. Yeah. This has to be a mistake. This absolutely has to be a mistake. Let's take this one. Yeah, I mean, I really doubt that this is an idea, man. I'm going to do... Actually, I'm going to play this. I would say, why not? If you play queens, he is absolutely over. But I mean, he's absolutely over anyway. But I'm just creating some problem for you. You can't just take and do whatever you want. If you take, I'm going to take the queen and play all of the pieces. And the point is that you just have a king. I have a full piece. There is nothing you can do about it. I mean, even if I'm down 2 pawns, I have a full piece. I'm going to win some pawn. I'm going to be perfectly fine. Yeah, this move looks good, but in reality, first of all, you lose 1 pawn. But I guess I can just go back, pinning this pawn, and say, well, man, what you do now? If you play to get in, I just move the knight. I don't see the problem. If you take, you're going to lose the rook anyway. If you take with the queen, well, you lose the rook anyway. That's my point. So still up a piece right now. I just had to play a bit quicker probably. But as you can see, I didn't do anything crazy. Just trying to play logical moves. This defends everything. So first of all, I'm trying to prevent my opponent ideas. And let's play this. I'm just trying to put some pressure to attack the weaknesses my opponent created. And as you saw, the starting position wasn't a crazy one. It was just, you know, the classical exchange French position, super equal, nothing to see. But you can definitely create something from a position like that if your opponent doesn't really play any moves, or if your opponent leaves too many weaknesses. But yeah, eventually I won this game because my opponent blundered and pushed the pawn. But let's say he didn't do that. I was probably going to win a pawn because his battle was really bad. So he created a lot of weaknesses and I was going to take advantage of that. But still, I mean, if you want to beat a 1900, you could easily beat him just by not blundering pieces. Now, this is hard. But I'm just saying, you don't have to play crazy move or something like that if you want to win. So let's play this. I want to put a lot of pressure on this pawn and go for the checkmate. If you're up material, obviously the best thing to do is attacking your opponent, especially if you are low on time. I mean, you need to create something because you finish all the time you have. If you push, I'm going to take. I want to open the position, obviously. But right now it's time to bring the knight into the game. Pretty logical move to play, I would say. You could put pressure on this pawn, but I don't think I care too much. I just want to activate my pieces. If you take with the rook, you get mated, so you have to take with the queen. Let's see you play this. I'm going to play this, queen take. We check, I take. Actually, you lose the rook. So yeah, perfect. No problem. Absolutely zero problems in this position. So if you want to have a winning chance as white in a position like this, you just have to play fast. I was down a lot in time, but now my opponent is giving me too much and also is not playing fast, which is a mistake. The position is lost anyway. Just play fast and see if I'm going to lose because of the time. And to offer a raid. Perfect. Let's take with the rook. Take the pawn. I'm going to move this rook and make a queen. Yeah, good game. Let's check the analysis real quick. Alright, this is the accuracy pretty good, I would say. Let's see what happened. This is just an exchange French. This is a bit inaccurate. You would like to play bishop on it instead, just taking more space, but I mean, obviously it's perfectly fine. This theory, if you know it, is a dumb theory. Like, I have the literal same plan, except for the fact that instead of pinning this knight and just going to play bishop on f5, just nothing really changed. Yeah, this move is inaccurate. I think is the best move on a stronger engine, but yeah, I mean, Nothing bad with this, just playing logical move and just preventing my opponent plan, and eventually he's going to make a mistake and I'm going to take advantage of that. So as you can see, this was a mistake. My opponent is then to create something and just play logical move instead of, I mean, risking it too much and just playing a bad move. And now my opponent gave me some space. So as I was saying, instead of taking the rook, I should play g5. I'm 100% sure about this. I missed the fact that the knight going back defends the bishop. I was like, I'm going to win a pawn anyway. I just missed that because I played this move too fast, probably. But yeah, g5 was definitely the move, but even in this case we are still better because this knight is on a really good square. f5 makes sense. And now, I mean, I'm just playing sensible move. As I said, a4 makes sense because we want to create this weakness. So this move was absolutely a mistake, a positional mistake. You don't want to be left with a weakness that is an easy target for my knight. So even though I blundered this piece, as I said, was probably going to lose a pawn anyway and probably lose the endgame. Rook f8 I thought was pretty logical. Apparently the move was queen on f6. I thought about queen on f6, the fact is that the knight gets in and it didn't look logical to me. But probably it's because the knight can't get in. We have g5, I just missed that idea. Alright, this move is probably bad, you just create another weakness. So apparently this is equal. According to Stockfish, I wouldn't say that. As you see, my opponent played the logical move and whether it is slightly worse. But in the long run, he's probably going to lose unless he plays like a really, really perfect game. So yeah, this was a really bad blunder. But let's say he played, I don't even know what you're supposed to play at this point. Let's say play sort of a logical move, but I don't, yeah, once again, maybe this? Yeah, rook e8 and getting in. I have a ton of playable moves. This is really difficult to play as white. But yeah, he blundered the piece, and after that, I think I played well. There wasn't too much to say at this point. And the conversion was, I would say, pretty simple at this point. You have to prevent this pawn from queening. The only way, first I took, but that doesn't really make a difference. The only way you have to prevent that is by playing this. I'm going to take, we check, you move, and I'm going to play this, defending the pawn. You play this, and this is my idea. The pawn is defended, I can play rook b1, and you have to give me the rook. And I'm going to win in 2 seconds, obviously. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something, and I'm going to see you soon in the next one.